Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Let's Move Austin. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Teresa Sebastian.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Teresa. Hello, everybody. Yes, we're talking about lenders in this one. I mean, that's an important piece of the old transaction pie.
It is a critical piece. I can't tell you how much easier or difficult a transaction can be based on the lender experience.
Yeah, no kidding. You know what's funny about that too is that it's there's more than meets the eye with lenders. I think a lot of people shop rates, like, well, I want to get a good deal on my mortgage, but there's so much more to it than that. So enlighten us, please.
It really is one of those things where, to a certain extent, the service you get during the course, from when you make an offer on a property to when that property closes, you know, that 6-week period, it's worth something to have good service.
Right.
Also, there are scenarios where the lender is inept or unresponsive, and it can actually cause a deal to fall apart. Yeah. So for that 1/4 percentage point on your interest rate that you saved, you may have such a lack of service that the transaction, you know, you've lost your dream home now.
Yeah, totally. Can you unpack some of the service? Because I know there are different places to look for what is included in what we mean by service.
Sure. Here's what I generally start with when I explain the differences. So there's mortgage brokers and mortgage banks. Okay. That's the first big distinction. Yep. And a mortgage bank, you know, it's a bank. So like you go to Bank of America or Chase, they're placing you in one of their bank's loan programs. Mm-hmm. So while they have multiple programs to pick from, they are limited to the programs in that bank. Okay.
Right. Yep.
A mortgage broker generally has more options because they can take you, your buyer profile, what your income and debt and your needs are, and they can go out and find multiple different programs from a variety of different providers and place you with the one that makes most sense.
Right. Good. Okay.
So you might already have, you know, sussed out, I prefer to work with a mortgage broker most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just because there's more options, more.
Exactly.
I remember there were times where something was not doable. Like as they start to dig and underwriting starts to dig, they're like, I don't think this loan program is going to fit. We're going to have to find them something different. And knowing that they could be flexible like that was super helpful.
Right. A broker can usually zig and zag a little bit better if something unexpected comes up.
Right.
But let's talk about at the very beginning of the process. I'm sorry, my dog is barking.
Hello, dog.
At the very beginning of the process, you know, you'll probably as a buyer work with a lender and get pre-qualified. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those aren't really worth anything because you've had a conversation with a lender and they're vouching that based on what you told them, you can get the loan for this amount. But they haven't actually looked at your financials and verified everything. Right. And there may be something that, you know, I'm not saying buyers are dishonest, but sometimes you forget there was a judgment that was 3 years ago or something that got sent to collections that you thought had fallen off.
Right.
Once you get pre-approved, there's a deeper dig into your financials and that is a more meaningful piece of paper, a pre-approval letter.
Right. Yeah. Totally. What about underwriting? I know that, like when you think about service, you know, that's a big, a lender's relationship with their underwriting can have a big deal on whether a deal gets through or not.
Right. Think of the underwriting process as basically the administrative team behind the loan. Mm-hmm. So your lender is the one that you meet and they're the ones that you might talk on the phone with, or you go into the bank and they're the ones you might shake hands with. That person really generally doesn't have much influence of the nuts and bolts of processing the transaction. Mm-hmm. You know, they hand it over and say, hey, you know, team, see if this guy qualifies. And then it's up to someone else to gather all that information. And I can't tell you how many people complain about having to send in the same information again. Mm-hmm. I always tell people, once you pull out that tax return from 2 years ago, you know, save it with the right title and hold on to it because chances are they're going to ask for it multiple times.
Yeah.
That's an example of a small frustration with underwriting and processing, right? Having to send documents more than once.
Yep.
A big example could be the underwriter missed that you can't count your child support payments against your debt or your income, who knows what, something that has been counted all along and you thought could count for income. And at the last minute, they say, no, that can't count.
Yeah.
And now you don't qualify for the loan.
Right. That's a big
That would be good to know up front.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, and I think too, depending on the lender, some lenders have tighter communication or better communication with their underwriting team. And some it's very like separate and corporate and
Right. Location is a big thing. I prefer always to work with local people if possible. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, you might think you walked into your local Wells Fargo and that's where your loan is being done, but nothing could be further than truth. Wells Fargo processes in, Arizona, and you can't even call and get an update on a file without having a PIN number and an 800 number and 9 to 5 hours. And it's very difficult to work with large corporations like that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. What about qualities in a lender? Like, right, they're not just like a front door person to shake hands with. Like they do stuff. What do you look for?
Absolutely. What I look for in a lender, and the lenders that I recommend to my clients have these qualities. They're excellent communicators. They create strategies. So they really listen to my clients and try to figure out what the long-term goal is, and then find a loan product that's going to best meet that goal. So they start with, tell me your story, tell me what you want to accomplish here. And then they make suggestions instead of trying to fit everybody into a cookie cutter loan, which, may rule some people out, or it may cost some people more money than they need to. So those are the two things: responsiveness and really being a strategic listener and problem solver.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that. I think a lot of people don't relate to their mortgage as a financial tool. They think of it as like the price of entry to own a home. Like, oh, well, I have a mortgage, so I guess anybody can get me this mortgage. But, your mortgage, it's a great financial tool if you use it the right way. And
right. I mean, just people will say, well, how much do I have to put down? Mm-hmm. That's a big question I get. Mm-hmm. And that's something that a great lender who has access to your financials and what you want to accomplish, they can help you answer that question better than I can. Because whether you put 5% down or 20% down, it has more than just a difference in your monthly payment. What's that 15% difference in cash potentially going to do to you? Or do for you? Yeah. Yep. So really I really like lenders that will really sit and, have a conversation up front and talk to the clients. And then the number one piece of advice I have to buyers is to, call a couple lenders and just see who you feel like you're connected with. See who you feel like you are having a conversation with and that you can have some trust.
I would imagine if people wanted the short list, like they could just get some numbers from you and they could call the people that you've used in the past, or?
Absolutely. In fact, the lender that helped me with the mortgage on my own home happens to live around the corner from me. So he's a pretty, easy person to get a hold of.
Handy, yeah, super handy.
It's pretty easy to update on my clients' loans when I just walk around the corner.
Yeah, I love it. That's perfect.
But I have several that actually are excellent. One specializes in condos, which is kind of a unique loan product. And I really feel like I have the best, group of lenders to offer to buyers to interview.
Love it. So good. Anything else you want us to know about, choosing a lender?
Well, I'd like to do a whole episode about how USAA is good for car insurance, but not for home loans.
Yeah.
But how about you call me if you want that scoop? Because I'm not sure I want to put it all on TV.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. That sounds juicy enough. Like if you've thought about using USAA, then you need to get hold of Teresa and get the scoop.
Think again.
No spoilers here, though. You have to call and talk to Teresa if you really want the
USAA. You can call me. I'll give you some tips on what you could do to improve too. Never say never.
That's good. I love it. Good stuff. Well, if people want to reach out to you because they're ready to list their home, they're ready to buy a home,
or they need a great lender,
how do people reach out to you?
Probably be easiest to shoot me a text or call me 512-297-3442.
Perfect. Good stuff. You guys can always search on Teresa's website too. Yeah. letsmoveaustin.com.
Absolutely.
Love it. Awesome. Teresa, thanks. We'll catch you next time.
Okay. Bye, Chris. Bye, everybody.